Right, let's get into it. Full disclosure, Thypoch sent me this Thypoch Simera 75mm F1.4 lens free of charge for review. I don't need to return the lens, but everything I'm about to say, it's all me. My honest opinions, they have zero say in this and they're seeing it for the first time, just like you. Okay, so bit of a story. When I first started out doing street photography, I was on a Sony system, an A7R5. No, actually, it was the A6300 if I'm not mistaken. And even the GFX 100, I had an 85mm lens. And I completely abused the blurry background, that bokeh that you get from, a medium telephoto with a large opening. Seriously, it was my crutch. Any messy background, any boring scene, I just open it up to f1.4, make it all disappear. The autofocus is good, it did all the hard work for me. Yeah, I was just learning to compose, but technology was doing everything for me. Then I switched to Leica. Complete wake-up call, it was like learning to walk again. That first month, I thought I made a huge mistake. I misfocused on everything. My photos were soft, blurry, it was frustrating. But then one day, after forcing myself to slow down and really look through the rangefinder, it just clicked. I understood. It's a different way of seeing. Everything is deliberate. Everything is manual. There is no safety net. You actually have to think. Since then, I've mostly used 35mm and 50mm lenses because, let's be real, they're just easier to use on a rangefinder. And then this Thypoch 75mm showed up. It felt like a personal challenge. Could I actually handle this focal length without my autofocus safety net? Before we dive into this lens, you have to understand what's happening in the camera world right now. It's kind of wild. For years, we had the big German and Japanese brands, and if you wanted top quality, you just had to pay up. That was the deal. But lately, these new lens brands have been popping up from China. You've probably seen them: 7 Artisans, TT Artisans, Viltrox, and this brand, Thypoch. And I'll be honest, at first I kinda ignored them, but you just can't anymore. They've gotten so good, and what's so cool about this whole thing is that looks and gear that used to cost as much as a small car are now within reach. It opens up so many creative doors for people who want to experiment without selling a kidney. And these guys, Thypoch, they aren't just popping out of nowhere. Their parent company, DZO Film, makes incredible high-end cinema lenses. So they have the experience, they know how to make good glass. What's most interesting is that they're all doing different things. You've got two different camps. On one side, you have a company like Light Lens Lab. Think of them as the history buffs, in the best way possible. They take old, legendary lenses and remake them using old school techniques. It's like buying a new lens from 1960. Then you've got Thypoch. They're different. They're like, let's take that classic all-metal feel and put brand new glass inside. It's a modern lens that just feels classic. It's not about what's better, it's about the vibe you're going for, which honestly is awesome for us. So let's talk about this lens, the Thypoch Simera 75mm. The build, really solid. It's all metal and glass, it just feels good in your hands. You know what I mean, it has that nice heft to it, it feels dense, and it feels right on my Leica. It doesn't feel like a cheap accessory, it feels like a part of the camera. The focus ring is everything on a lens like this, and they just nailed it. It's super smooth with the right amount of resistance. What I mean by that is the throw, how far you have to turn it, it's nice and long. It sounds like a bad thing, but for a lens like this, it's exactly what you want. It gives you so much precision for those tiny adjustments to get the focus perfect. You ever use a lens where you just breathe on the focus ring and it flies all the way to infinity? This is the complete opposite of that. It's controlled. Now here's where it gets kinda crazy. The closest you can focus is 0.6 meters. For a 75mm lens on the Leica, that's way closer than normal. But here's the catch you need to know. Your Leica's rangefinder, the little box you look through, stops working at 0.7 meters. So to get that extra closeness from 0.7 to 0.6, you just have to use the screen on the back, or an electronic viewfinder, an EVF. simple. It's like they give you the secret bonus mode if you use an EVF. It's surprisingly useful. You can get a really tight headshot without having to lean back, or you can shoot details of flowers on the table or texture or something cool with this 75, which you really seldom get from a Leica rangefinder. Now, the most important part, how do the pictures look? Let me tell you about the two situations I used the lens in. First, I used it for a proper headshot in my studio. My friend Margaret Han, who's behind the camera, by the way, an amazing newborn photographer here in Jakarta, needed some new headshots, but we sort of turned it into an editorial shot instead. Now, taking pictures of another photographer, that's a lot of pressure. They know what to look for, just couldn't hide behind anything. Now, for headshots, you're not trying to get all artsy and blurry, you want it sharp. So for Margaret's session, I stopped the lens down to f5.6 or f4. We were in the studio, strobes firing, and I was looking for that pop on the screen. And the image is crazy sharp, like, wow, okay, sharp. Even at f5.6, the subject separation is so good that Margaret just jumps off the background. The resolution and detail were incredible. Delivered that clean, polished, professional look that client work demands. It totally passed the test. This is a lens that you can make money with. But at the end of the day, you are buying a lens that opens up to f1.4. So what is it like? It's awesome. This is where the lens's character comes out. You get that super sharp look right in your subject, and the background just turns into this beautiful, creamy blur. It's the look we all love. It's the look that we all put on Instagram. The transition between sharp to blurry is quite smooth, no weird, hard edges. Now, is it perfect? Not really. Sometimes the flaws are what makes it cool. If you shoot it into the sun, yeah, it flares a bit, but not a nasty green blotchy flare. It's more of a soft hazy glow that can actually look really nice and dreamy. As for the colors, they're quite neutral, maybe a little on the warm side, which I really like for skin tones anyway. It just gives a really pleasant natural look. So you get both looks on one lens, the super sharp pro look when you need it and the dreamy artistic look when you want it. Okay, so how do you actually use this thing on the street? Everyone's going to tell you use a 35, use a 28. They're not wrong. 35mm or 28mm lens puts the viewer right in the middle of everything. It's like you're at the party. This 75mm lens is different. It's like you're watching the party from a cool balcony spot. You see things nobody else does. You're not telling the big story of the whole scene, you're telling the small secret story of one person in a crowd. Once you get that, it all clicks. So here are a few things that worked for me. First, master trap focus. What do I mean by trap focus? Forget about zone focusing, it doesn't work here. The focus markers, the depth of field markers, they're inspired by a vintage lens. It's a nice design, but honestly, at this point of time, 75mm is more of a gimmick because you just get very, very shallow depth of field. Instead, you set a trap. So you pre-focus on a certain spot and you wait for your subject to pass through. That's the way I take pictures of moving subjects with this lens. I found it really difficult, especially at f1.4, to track a person moving. It's probably a skill issue. So yeah, focus on something, pre-focus on something, set the scene, wait for your subject to walk into the spot that you're focused on. Sometimes you still miss, but then that's the nature of shooting a medium telephoto on a rangefinder. Second, just chill out. Seriously, just slow down. This isn't a lens for running and gunning. It actually changes your whole mindset. You stop hunting for photos and you just start observing. You become part of the scenery. People ignore you, and that's when the real moments happen. Find a spot, watch the world go by. It's a more relaxing way to shoot. Right, so what do I not like about this lens? First of all, the lens hood. I might be the one being stupid, but I don't see any obvious marks on how to attach the lens hood quickly, so I just can't do it. You know, so Thypoch just send me a message to teach if I'm getting it wrong. Apart from that, like I said, the depth of field markers, they are quite useless. if I may say so, to be honest. So yeah, it's a very nice design. I like it. Oh, and I forgot to mention earlier that because DZO is a cinema lens company, they actually made the aperture ring declickable, so you can actually use this lens on video. I haven't done that yet, but I should do. What else do I not like about this lens? I'll just throw in a few more things that I like about the lens. It's really light. It's not as heavy as I thought it would be. The filter thread is 58mm, so it's quite common, you know, compared to other Leica filter thread sizes, which can be sort of difficult to get. So you can get modern, you know, trendy filters like mist filters and all that sort in the right filter thread size. So the big question, should you buy the Thypoch Simera 75 F1.4? Honestly, I had a fantastic time with this lens. It's built like a tank, the pictures are great, and it really makes you a better photographer because it forces you to think. Let's break it down. If you're a person who loves the process, who enjoys the challenge of manual focus, who wants to create images that feel deliberate and earned, then yeah, I think you'll have a blast with this thing. But if you're the sort of photographer who relies on zone focusing, if you are the sort of street photographer or any sort of photographer actually who enjoys a wider lens, I don't think this is for you, but it might be a good lens to have in your bag anyway to force you to have a different perspective. This is a lens that makes you think, that makes you work for the shot, and for me, that's what makes it so much fun. If you shoot with a Leica or any manual camera and you're into manual lenses and you've been a little scared to try a longer lens, this might be the one. It's so good it gives you the confidence to learn. It's a great lens, and it's just cool to see companies making awesome stuff like this.